Tingles with flyby. Daily ASMR videos. Hello, my tinglings, and happy Mother's Day. I am going to be talking a little bit about my own mother today, but before I get into any of that, I just want to acknowledge and send out love to all those for whom Mother's Day is not an easy time, for those who are without their mothers. I think that is a sad time of life that we'll all get to eventually. So I just want to acknowledge you and let you know that I'm thinking about you. I also want to acknowledge all the mothers-to-be who are having trouble becoming mothers. I know that can be a big source of trial for lots of women. And I just want you to know that I see you and I am sending my love to you today, that you are no less a mother than anybody else. And to anybody else who needs some love today, which I think we can all use some love, but I wanted to specifically mention those two groups because it can be hard on Mother's Day when you don't have a mother or you feel like you are not getting to be a mother. So, if you've been around my channel for a while, last year my mom came to visit me, and she was actually in a couple videos with me, and was super excited. It was actually quite hard to keep them ASMR because I was so excited to have her in my studio. She was right here with me. I do miss my mom. That is something hard about living in Australia, is being away from my lovely mother and a lot of my family. Anyway, that's not what this is about. I thought I might tell you a bit more about my mother. My mom is what I call her, or I do call her Mum. Not really to her face, but when I'm talking about her I do say my mum now as well, since I live in Australia. I said that to my best friend who's American once, and she said, "Jenny, you're still American. She's your mom, not your mom." That's funny. But, sorry, I just saw a bug over in the corner of my room, which I actually need another bug for a collection I'm making for one of my courses. So, anyway, hopefully it's there by the end of this video. I'm not really going to worry about it right now. I'm also not sure it's not just a piece of fluff, so. Anyway, so my mom was born in Idaho in 1958. She's the 5th child in her family. She has 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters. The brothers are the oldest, and then it's the 3 girls. So her older brother died, I think, about 8 years ago. Oldest brother, probably the sibling she gets along the best with. Unfortunately, he died about 8 years ago. all of her other siblings are living, and she gets on reasonably well with her sisters. So, but they all still live in Idaho. My mom went to Ricks College, which is in Rexburg. I'm actually of Ricks lineage. Thomas E. Ricks had 5 wives, and I think he was the founder of Rexburg. And I think we're from the 4th wife or something like that. So that's Mormon heritage for you. Lots of polygamous relationships. Anyway, that's what I come from on that side. So she went to Ricks College, did 2 years there, and didn't find a husband. So then she went down to BYU after having her associate's degree, to get a bachelor's degree, which I think she actually got it in, I don't actually remember now, because I thought she was doing computer programming. And then now I think that it was maybe business. I don't know. Anyway, so that's where she met my dad, and they got married, had my sister, and my mom graduated, and I think that's when she graduated, and then my dad went to law school, and they had me, and then we moved to Colorado. And so my mom was a stay-at-home mom until my parents got divorced when I was 5. She did, while she was a stay-at-home mom, used to teach children's sewing lessons out of our basement in Colorado. And yeah. Then we moved out to Maryland because my dad hated his job in Colorado, and so he got a job with the government, and my mom followed him even though they were split up, so that we could still have a dad in our life, and I am forever grateful for that. It was really good having both of my parents around growing up. Very important to me. My relationship with my dad is very important to me, and was very important to me as a kid. In a lot of ways, I relate a bit more to my dad, and so it was really good to have him around, and obviously just better to have 2 adults that are caring for you than one. So we moved out to Maryland. Anyway, so that's when my mom became a receptionist at Diversified Lending Services, which was a mortgage company, a little small family business. We used to go in there, and I used to use the copier to make these books called The Day I Caught a Fish. I spelled caught C-O-T because I was quite young. And I made 10 books, I think, or I made at least 6. I said there were going to be 10, and then I think there were like 6. And I would draw them out, and then make all these copies, and then I sent them out to my family members, like my aunts and uncles, and that sort of thing. So, yeah, my mom worked there as a receptionist, and then moved up to be a lender? I don't know. Loan processor, I think is what it was. Because she wasn't an underwriter. It was a loan processor, I think. So she worked there for quite a while. And then she got remarried and we moved to New York, which I lived there for a year. But so my mom for that year was working, I think, as a loan processor there as well. Oh no, did she? Oh, yeah, no, she worked as a loan processor, and then the small family business, they must have hit hard financial times because they had to lay her off. And then she started working for another company, which I don't remember. Anyway. And then, yeah. So she worked for another company, and then she left there, which was in Silver Springs, I think. But anyway. And then she moved to New York. She had a job there as a loan processor probably as well. I don't remember, something in mortgages again. And then after a year or so of that, she quit her job. Don't remember if my stepdad had a job or not by then, because he had been unemployed for a while because he was trying to get this thing. Well, he'd been in this company and they lost their money, so they were trying to rebuild it. So he was spending a lot of time trying to get that to work. And then eventually he ended up getting another job. But she quit her job and she started doing children's sewing lessons again out of her basement, which is what she does now. And she also goes around and does talks at quilting clubs and that sort of thing. For those of you who saw the videos with her, you can see she's an engaging speaker, so she's fun to listen to and knows how to tell a good story. I think she gets that from her father. My grandfather, he could tell a good story. So that's kind of her professional progression, I guess. So, one of the big talks that she does right now is 6 generations of quilters. And she does a little, they call it a trunk show, which is where you take the quilts and take them out of the trunk and then show them, you pass them around at the quilters meeting. And so she has 4 of the, I think she has 4 of the generations represented in quilt. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, she must have 5. 4 are full-size quilts, and then 1 is a piece of a quilt. And I don't know, maybe she has 5 quilts. I don't know. Because she has hers. Okay. My niece, that generation, then my generation, then my mom. Her mom she definitely has. Her grandma she definitely has. And then she has a piece of a quilt from her great-grandmother, I think. I think that's it, yeah. It's actually funny because the quilt, so the reason we actually all have a piece of that quilt from it would be my great-great-grandmother, because my grandmother had it, and she had it up at the top of a closet, but it was pushed up right next to a light bulb, so it actually got this burn mark in it. So my cousin did a project to cut it into little squares like this and get them framed so that kind of all of the progeny could have a piece of this quilt, because it just wasn't really going to be functional how the quilt was. Anyway, my mom's made a replica of that. And so when she shows this at these trunk shows, she'll pull out her little framed square that she has, and then also the replica that she made. She actually sewed it by hand. It's a double wedding ring quilt. Very, very beautiful. The next time I go and visit her at her house, I will for sure do a video trying to show you off all her beautiful, beautiful quilts. When she turned 15 and a half, she had a quilt show. So because her birthday's in December, she thought, oh, well, in December will be a really kind of late time, like really busy time to do it. So she wanted to do it then 6 months, so 50 and a half. And she did a quilt show showing off different generations of quilts, and it's really cool. One of my favorites that she made is this quilt called The Generations Combine. And so she's got a quilt, which I will try and show you sometime. I'm hoping we'll try to get back over to the States after I graduate in 2019, so maybe around then, but no guarantees right now. Who knows what'll happen. But this Generations Combined quilt is gorgeous. It's a white front quilt, and she had these blocks that my grandmother had embroidered. So that's kind of part of the block, and then they're connected in with these other blocks. So she's got kind of this integration of these blocks with her own design, which is using the double wedding ring quilt type design. And then on the back she has these little handprints and footprints from my two nieces. So basically there's 4 generations that have actually touched this quilt, because my sister and I sewed some things for this quilt as well, and then obviously she made it. But the coolest thing to me about the quilt is when it was actually hanging, you could see in my grandmother's blocks the little footprints and handprints of my nieces shining through from the back of the quilt. And so it was just really representative of that combining of the generations and that legacy, and just seeing kind of her touch on them, even though, you know, they never would remember really meeting her and that sort of thing. So it's a pretty cool quilt. Anyway, so my mom does a lot of quilting. Obviously, you know, she's done triathlons. That was kind of her getting into her 50s. She's gotten a lot more into her fitness, trying to pay a lot of attention to her health and everything like that. So she's done a lot of triathlons up until she got her knee replacement in December. So she's still biking and swimming, but she can't run anymore, so I'm not sure what sort of races she's going to try to do now, but she is an awesome, awesome woman. Obviously, I haven't spoken a lot about it, but she is Mormon, and she's had a variety of church callings and done church service through her life as well. She's currently a Stake Relief Society president, which is, so you have like your local congregation, and then a group of kind of 5 to 10 congregation is called a stake. And so she's in charge of the women's organization for the whole stake. And yeah, she's had various callings throughout her life for that. But what I really wanted to, I guess, finish off this video talking about is just the legacy that she has left for me. It's easy when you're young because everything feels like this is just the way it's supposed to be. When you're raised by people, it doesn't really feel special that you're raised by this person because you don't know anything different. I know different now. And I know that lots of people have not been as lucky as me to have the amazing, amazing mother that I have. She is very caring. She's very kind. She loves her children. She loves me. And that's been a huge part of how she has arranged her life, is to put us first. Not necessarily in over-sacrificing, but in understanding that the role of a mother is very important, in putting aside maybe her hurt feelings with my dad to still make sure that we had him in our life. That was very important to her, and I am so grateful for that, that even though my parents didn't work out, they both worked together very well to try and make sure that my sister and I still had two very solid parents, and we got to see them almost every day. And that only happens with cooperation from both of them. And my mom was very instrumental in that. My mom is one of the things, and it used to really annoy me when I was a little kid, is when I would cry and she would, wrap her arms around me and she would just say, "Let it come, let it come." And it used to annoy me because it felt like an instruction, I guess, but that freedom and space to express myself and my emotions, that safety and that warmth that my mom provided for me has been hugely instrumental in my emotional development. It's part of the reason I can walk around as confident as I am today, exactly how I am, is because of that nurturing love of my mom. I know that she always, always has my back. If I need something, she'll be there for me. And that is an amazing gift, and I feel so lucky to have her as my mom. And I just want to say to her, Happy Mother's Day. If you're still awake, thank you for watching this video. Hit the subscribe button down below so that you can be the first to see tomorrow's ASMR video. Yes, I do a daily ASMR video just for you. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked this video so that you can come back and watch it again and again and again. And be sure to comment down below for your chance to be featured in my monthly viewers appreciation video on the 25th. You can comment about this video, or you could comment about a problem you're having in your life. I just want to hear from you. I do reply to all genuine comments, so I look forward to chatting with you down in the comments.